Rockingham Toyota, Dodge, Nissan. Looks good. Looks good. It's good to go. It's good to go. Candlepin Stars and Stripes is produced in conjunction with the New Hampshire Candlepin Bowling Association. And now your hosts, Doug Brown and Dan Murphy.
Hi, everybody, and welcome once again to Park Place Lanes here in Windham, New Hampshire. It's semifinal week here on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Happy to have you with us, Doug Brown, along with Dan Murphy. So far, this series has been dominated by Dave Richards.
It certainly has. And last week, a big 400 against Gary Carrington. But it's a new week. We start fresh and new opponent.
All right, let's talk about it. First of all, let's reintroduce, for those of you who haven't seen him the last 2 weeks, going for his third win in a row from Plastow, New Hampshire, our number 4 seed, Dave Richards.
Last week was a battle of Plastow people. This week, the battle of Park Place bowlers, both of them coming from Park Place. Gary Carrington, I should say Dave Richards averaging 130. His roll-off score was 674.
And Dave last week with that big 444 to knock off Gary Carrington for his second straight win. And now he will face the number 2 seeded bowler in this series from Manchester, New Hampshire, John Plante.
Yes, John comes in averaging 128, and his roll-off score, second best in the roll-off, was 697.
All right, that sets us up for this semifinal match. The winner, of course, moves into the championship match next week. We have bonus money on the line, of course, as always, and we also have our bonus ball contest coming up at the end of the hour. Lots to attend to. We'll get the match started. John Plante and Dave Richards right after this timeout. All right, once again, Dave Richards, our number 4 seed, has knocked off in order 5th-seeded Dan Mitchell and 3rd-seeded Gary Carrington. So today he goes for his 3rd win in a row. John Plante, our number 2 seed, with that big 697 roll-off. The winner of this match comes back next week to face Paul Berger for the series championship and a spot in the Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions. Been a long time since we've had somebody run the table. Dave Richards is halfway there, but he'll need 2 more wins in order to get to the tournament. He starts today's match. And he'll start by looking at the 9-10.
A couple pieces of wood to the left. I'm sure that's what he's going to play. Needs some help.
Ooh, how did he miss?
Right behind the 10 pin. Got the 9.
And the 10 box for Dave. Now over to lane 31 and another split, but again possibilities because of the wood.
Looks like the wood might take the 10. He might have to worry about the 4-7. No, I take that back. He could have to worry about the 10 and carry the 4-7. Very tense.
Well, not quite the explosive start he had last week when he threw a double strike to begin the match against Gary Carrington. Dave last week had 20 marks in that 444. Here is John Plante. John making his 2nd appearance with us here on the Winds of New England. His first appearance was just about 8 months ago, back in March. And guess what? It was against Dave Richards. He lost by 7 pins in that match. That was a low-scoring match. John Plante actually had a lead going into the 3rd game, a small lead going into the 3rd game of that match, but he threw a 108 3rd game, and Dave Richards came up with a 130 and beat him. So 8 months later, John is back for his 2nd appearance, and he gets Dave Richards once again. What are the odds against that happening?
6-10 on the right with the 7 pin, and then the only piece of wood now rolls into the channel. Try to split the 3 and the 6. Doesn't make it happen, so he'll fall behind a few pins after 2 frames.
2 through the middle for the 7. Dave Richards, his first 2 weeks here, has averaged an even 140 for 6 games. That is 10 pins above his league average here at Park Place. Started last week's match with a big 171. And he marks here in the third, picking off the single 7-pin.
First mark of the match.
Brooklyn side for the 8-drop.
3-6 left, trying to make it 2 marks in a row.
And there it is. Just on the 3-6.
You and me both. I thought he was just going to take out just that 3-pin. But was able to carry the 6.
John Plante dropped that ball a little bit, but didn't end up too badly for him. The 1, 2, 5, and 7 with wood. 2 pieces of wood wedged in the middle there. Yep.
Dropped another one. That's actually behind the foul line that he released that ball. So it's a 9, and it's 25 after 3 for John.
Looking for his first mark on the head pin that time, but no break on the 10. A little full with that first ball. And John's still looking to find the range here a little bit. So for the third week in a row, Dave Richards has an early double-digit lead. It's already 15, as you see, plus the fill ball here on that spare.
2 in a row, looking for bonus money.
Came up a little short on that one. The 1, 7, and 9.
It's sliding to the right.
Bonus money this season on Candlepin Stars and Strikes every Sunday, provided to us by Rockingham Toyota Dodge Nissan. Come to Salem and save. Rockingham Toyota Dodge Nissan, Route 97, Main Street, Salem, New Hampshire. Emmett Horgan and the gang, stop in. Tell him you heard about him here on Stars and Strikes. He'll give you a good deal on a new car. Well, he'll give you a good deal even if you don't say that you saw it on Stars and Strikes.
Right.
But $25 for 3 marks in a row. 25 more for each additional consecutive mark. $250 for 3 strikes in a row, with an extra $250 for extra consecutive additional strikes. A 22-pin lead for Dave Richards. And John Plante will shoot at the 1, 4, and 7. With some wood settling.
Not quite. Went for the head pin, tried to carry the head pin off, or the ball off the head pin into the 4-7.
John lives in Manchester, New Hampshire, works as a unit manager for Capital Credit, and as Dan mentioned earlier, does a lot of his bowling right here at Park Place Lanes, as does Dave Richards. John just sliding by the head pin that time. Boy, he's had a split, it seems, every box.
This time the 1, 2, and 10.
Off target. And the 9. That match that these two guys had back in March was a good one. It was decided in the final 4 boxes.
Oh, great spare by Dave Richards. 2-4-7-10. Splits the 2-4. Watch the 2-pin. Yes, there it is. Spare in the 7th.
And here's another rather odd leave. The 4, 8, 9, and 10. Talking about that match that these two had back in March, John Plante had a 16-pin lead with 4 boxes to go, but then Dave Richards caught fire. He put 2 spares and a strike together and ended up winning the match by 7.
And it's a 9-box and 99 through 8 boxes for Dave Richards.
John Plante still looking for mark number 1, and
John is having a real tough time right now, getting straightened away, getting his timing down. That ball was way to the left. A little better that time, but still no mark.
And he'll carry it for the 10 bucks.
Here you see the replay of the 2-pin into the 10. And this time you have the 3, 6, 7.
Nope. Well,
Yes.
maybe so, yes. Just had to wait.
He missed it conventional way. Gets a big break here off the 7-pin and then back for the 3.
Dave Richards, lane 32 with the 8 drop. The final roll-off for this series, by the way, held at the Exeter Lanes in Exeter, New Hampshire. Thanks to everybody there for helping us out, as usual. And a big strike on spare for Dave Richards. Still an opportunity for bonus money here if he puts a spare on it in the 10th. And he'll have a shot. Almost a double strike. But this single pin, the 5-pin, for $25 in bonus money. No, and you might have heard Dave. He knew that he had missed it. So it's a 9 fill and a 138 for Dave. John Plante now working on his mark. Seven fill, but another split.
Yeah, that's the 4, the 8, and the 10.
We tape Candlepin Stars and Strikes, of course, here at Park Place Lanes in Windham, New Hampshire. And whether you're here to watch us for a taping session or if you're here to do some bowling on your own, be sure and stop in to the Willow Tree North restaurant, located right inside Park Place Lanes. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Fine food, great service, great people. Rodney Cronin and his staff at the Willow Tree North restaurant. And remember, it's where the crew eats. And John almost, but not quite, in the 10th.
He'll be sub 100 this time. 95 right now, and make it 96.
And he will be trailing by 42 as for the second week in a row. Third week in a row, really. Dave Richards has the lead after one, but this is his biggest, well, not his biggest lead, but a large lead at 42 pins going into the second game. We'll be back with that and more on our bonus ball contest in a minute. And welcome back to Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Doug Brown along with Dan Murphy. You know, every week we tell you about how to enter the bonus ball contest, and we stress one thing over and over and over again, and that is send in regular size postcards only. Dan has an example in his hand of one of those cards that's just not regular size, and this is what we do with them. Now, some people try and get a little bit sneaky, and they'll take a regular, this is a regular size card here, this white edge, and then this bigger edge up here, this is the postcard that someone says, see, it looks like a regular postcard, but it's a lot bigger. So you know what we do with that? Well, that's what happens to those. So please send in regular size postcards only, please, so that Dan won't have to do that anymore and make a mess here. Please, regular size postcards only, and here's the address. Park Place Lanes, Route 28, Windham, New Hampshire, 03087. And when you send them in, of course, be sure and include your name, your full address, and the number from 1 to 10, the number of pins that you think will drop on the bonus ball at the end of the show. Thank you for that demonstration, Dan.
I really thoroughly enjoyed that.
That was superb.
3, 4, and 6. No wood for John. John needs to get something going here. He needs a break or make one of these cut shots to get himself untracked.
I'm not sure. The spare that he had was on a split that he actually missed, and then a piece of wood came back and converted it for him. I think he's had a split in almost every box of this match so far. I don't recall that many real legitimate spare leaves that he's had. Here's one, the triangle.
3, 5, and 6. Looks good.
Yes.
It is good.
Second mark for John.
You see the replay just splitting the 3 and the 6. Yeah, actually the 3 and 6. And now Dave Richards, who shows no signs of letting up.
You know, you made a mess here, but you've cleaned it up already. I noticed that.
Well, Nick Muskelly and the crew at Park Place Lanes here were all watching me. I want to come up and trash my place in Concord. He gets all the mail.
What place would that be?
Concord, Boutwell's Bowling Center. Yes, thank you for asking. Very nice place. These people who haven't visited, please stop by.
Yes. Say hi to Dan. He's usually there.
Yeah. Bowl a couple games, too. I got to pay the light bill. Dave Richards starts with a 10, just catches the head pin, and that's the forte here. Watch the ball mix. Gives himself an 8-pin drop, 2 pins, the 2 and the 7, and he's got to watch that wood out in front.
Well, we've talked about this. Dave just flies that one over the 7-pin. We've spoken the weeks that Dave has been here about the great mix that he gets on the ball, and even Gary Carrington alluded to it after the match last week. And at Park Place, that can be particularly effective because the pins tend to move around a lot and jump around, and if you can just keep pins on the plate a little bit longer and get things jumping around, you can really get a great added benefit from it. And really what was happening to Gary last week, Gary tends to throw a more straight ball, and it was costing him.
Yeah, just wasn't carrying that extra pin, and much like John is this week, it's an 8-pin drop on the spare, but not an easy spare leave. And now he'll try for the 10. Everybody's wondering at home, was that our card he just ripped up?
You know, I was just going to say that people are probably wondering why it is that I have Dan rip up the cards and don't do it myself. And the reason is it is a federal offense to tamper with the mail, so that's why I have Dan do it.
Last time it happened was a few years ago, and I heard about it. One of my customers was really got after me.
Great shot there for John Plante. Again, another split, but this one he converts for the spare. Dave Richards looking for his first mark here in game 2.
No, I never asked this question, but what difference does it make if they're not...
Oh, how about that for a shot?
He doesn't want to hear anything about that. Just make spares. Watch him cut 3-pin into the 4-7 and just like routine.
And the fill will be just 5.
So are you going to answer me, or are you just going to...
What was the question?
The question was, why does it make any difference we have regular postcards? Because it's an advantage.
Yes.
When my hand goes in there, my hand can really detect
if there's more surface area on the card, then there's more of a chance that
and
you'll
we want
grab
this
it.
game on the up and up. Okay, now...
That'd be like me it's like when I bowl against you and I use that bigger ball.
Yeah.
It's the same principle. Another great shot by Dave
Shall
Richards
we take
here.
a break?
Yeah, let's do that. That was for a 10 for Dave Richards. John Plante with the spare up in the 4th, and we'll resume here on Stars and Strikes in a minute. All right, back we are at Park Place Lanes. John Plante working on a spare. And right on the head pin, but look, another split.
Well, let's see. If the wood stays there, there's a possibility there. Carrying the ball off the wood for the 7. Would take the other 2.
Yes.
Nice shot.
Well, at least, if nothing else, he got a break on the positioning of the wood.
Well, sometimes you make a few of these. Watch the ball fly, though. Just barely catches it going away. You make a couple of these, and then all of a sudden you start to carry that extra pin.
Like that.
There you go.
6 count. Something to shoot at here. Chance at bonus money for John Plante.
Nice little guide there. He'll keep the 3-pin in play. If he's on the 3-pin, he's got a good shot at making a spare.
And there you have it. For $25 in bonus money from Rockingham Toyota Dodge Nissan for John Plante. And all of a sudden, he has 5 marks. Dave Richards. A little thin.
He was looking at the triangle plus the 7-pin, and the wood moved everything to the left and carried the 7-pin out of there. It gives him a shot at the triangle, and a little heavy, but he got a nice sidewall kick to carry the 9-pin.
The 10-pin coming off the wall to take the 9.
Left it out to the right, only 3. So John Plante all of a sudden is making a mini run at Dave Richards. Keep the streak alive. We may have a new game here, a new match.
Talked about how rare it is for someone to start from the bottom of the ladder and win 4 in a row to get to the Tournament of Champions. Dave Richards came about as close as you could come without doing it last year. Last season, we talked about the last time John Plante was here, these two guys faced each other. That was in the first week of a series. Dave went on to win 3 weeks in a row, and then in the championship match, he went into overtime against Dan Broder before finally losing by 8.
Well, just when you think you got it going, John leaves one out to the right, and just 2 on the spare.
But he has made up 15 pins to cut the lead to 27. And he gets out of that with a 9. 90 through 7. Oh, big first ball, and that is strike number 1 on the day for John Plante.
I didn't realize it in watching John, the flight of John's ball that time, almost like it's an in-shoot. It breaks a little bit from left to right, back up for a right-handed bowler. And that time he set it out to the left, and it broke back into the 1-2 pocket. Dave Richards right back on the head pin, and he'll shoot at the 3-5. Piece of wood way out in front. He's almost going to have to cap that wood to make this shot.
Nope.
Too much of the cap.
That's not like a salary cap, is it?
Could be. Bowler's going to walk out.
I was going to say, thankfully, we don't have to discuss that here, which is nice. Boy, that was an explosive first ball for Dave, but he's left with the 4, 8, and 10 with wood that may come into play. He's opposite a strike here in the 8th. Well, he's going to lose some more of his lead. John came into this game, too, trailing by 42, so the game plan basically is try and cut the lead in half if you can in the second game.
Well, he's working on a strike, too. If he was to get up and throw another one, things could get real interesting real quick.
On the strike. Just catches the head pin, but look at the mix here. Not a great leave, but does drop 7. The 7, 8, and 10.
Looks like he would have to go after the wood in front of the 7-pin and move everything, but it doesn't look like he has the angle to carry the 10-pin.
Tried it on the 8-pin instead.
Well, it appeared to be that way. I still think he was trying probably for the 7.
So now, all of a sudden, that lead is down to 19. I'm sure John would love to put another mark up here in the 10th.
This would be a big mark in the 10th.
The 1, 3, 7, 8, 10.
So otherwise, he's open 2 frames for Dave to work on. Dave could get some of those back. Pretty good shot.
Oh, wow.
Boy. Struggled now to get it down to 19, but it'd be all for nothing if Dave were to put 2 marks up now.
127 for John Plante, 223, 2-game total. You're right, John could be in pretty good shape if Dave is open twice here. If not, it'll make it that much more difficult. Dave off target, but he'll shoot at the 110. That piece of wood in the back that might have helped him rolled out of the way.
He's going to have to do this himself. The wood behind the headpin might give him a little bit of advantage by keeping the headpin in play. We'll never, well, I should say we never know. And saw some weird things happen last week.
So there's one open.
Lead now 20, and even 20 pins. This is going to be full, so things are looking a little brighter for John. He's, like you said, cut that lead in half.
Man, Dave's got to watch out for the bad box here. This is going to be his lowest game in the 3 weeks he's been here, by far. It's a 7 box and a 102 for a 2-game total of 240. So what was a 42-pin lead at the beginning of this game is now just a 17-pin lead for Dave Richards. He's trying for 3 wins in a row. The 3rd game will decide it on Stars and Strikes. All right, Dave Richards, 1 game away from his 3rd straight win, but he's got to nurse a 17-pin lead here. As John Plante did what he had to do. He cut that lead in half and then some in game 2.
Triangle for Dave to shoot at.
Nope.
Little momentum swing here. Last couple weeks, Dave was carrying those shots. That wasn't. He was very close to making it clean, but last couple weeks he'd find a way, come off the wall or something, and make that spare.
Full again. Four, 6, 7 this time.
I think he's going right down the middle of the lane, catch that piece of wood on the right-hand tip. Nope, missed it.
Too far right.
So, 2 open frames. Couple marks, it's a new game. There it is.
That was it.
Yeah,
You saw Dave's reaction. He's just upset that he missed it the first time.
Had the right idea, just left it out to the right. And he got it for the 10.
John Plante with a chance here, and there's a big strike. He answers the call. John Plante's 2nd strike, and he's going to cut further into the lead here. Powerful first ball that time. Look out. Look out. A 9 drop this time.
This is a big mark. Confidence-wise, if nothing else. 2 marks in a row and cutting the lead. He's on it.
Oh, yeah. That lead is now down to 7 for Dave Richards. And this thing is a match again. Dave again not wasting any time, right up there. And gets the break this time, leaving the 9-pin. Gonna wait for all that wood. He's got, what, 4 pieces of wood down there.
Yeah, and he has to be careful because there is another piece right in front of the pin. Yes,
oh, do you believe it?
Yeah.
Do you believe it? Dave can't. I think that last piece that moved over cost him the shot.
Just caused the other pieces to move right and left of the 9 pin, and Dave will get it for a 10, but no mark. 10 boxes, but see what happens to the wood. Yeah. That's a good-looking ball.
And that's a strike ball. So that ends the drought for Dave Richards. He'd gone 8 boxes in a row back to the second game without a mark.
You see the replay of that, tripping the 4 pin and then finally the 9.
John Plante on a spare, and he throws the spread eagle. Well, if he makes this for $25, it'll be worth the bonus money. Our presenting sponsor here on Candlepin Stars and Strikes, as always, the great folks at Tri-State Megabucks. Just imagine Tri-State Megabucks. Give it a try. You never know. Tri-State Megabucks with us all year, of course, but as we look ahead to the spring, it will be our 7th annual Tri-State Megabucks Tournament of Champions.
John has fought and clawed his way back. He doesn't want to let it slip away now. Dave Richards already posted a strike in the 4th. This is for a spare for John.
Nope.
No.
He got the lead down to 4, but he'll lose some pins here in the 4th. And John misfires on that one, just a 6-box, 49 through 4. When we come back, Dave Richards with an 8-pin lead now, plus whatever he adds on that strike. So this thing is very close, and we'll be back to finish it on Stars and Strikes after these words. Dave Richards with a strike up in the 4th.
He'll push that lead into double figures again, meaning John will be 2 marks away again.
Wow, 1 more pin drops and it's a spare leave, but instead it's the 4 and the 9.
A piece of wood behind the 4 pin though might make it snap. Ooh, almost.
Not enough. Well, that brings Dave back even in this game, which means he's recaptured his 17-pin lead for the moment, but he is open in the 5th. And he has only 1 mark in the last 10 boxes.
Make it 2. Almost. 5-pin, but luck out.
He has had some kind of unfortunate breaks here in this match, but that one he takes advantage of.
All the pressure back on John Plante to put a mark or 2 up.
Great head
Full.
pin. Little full, but
7-10 and
wow.
Hang around, Wood. It's not going to. It's going to roll off into the channel, and he's going to be left with a 7 and 10.
I get that wood out of the way. I'll make it without it. Chance, actually, with the wood in the channel, but he can't jump it over there. Sometimes you have a better chance with the 7-10 if there is wood in the channel, and if the channels are clear. That's a 9-box for John. So he continues to trail by 17. He's now opposite a mark here in the 6th. Really almost has to have a mark here in the 6th to give himself a chance, realistically.
Yeah, he can't afford to leave it in the hands of Dave Richards to give him a break, like a bad fill or something. He's got to go out and do it himself. That looks pretty good, but no spare to show for it. And now he's going to have to rely on that. That Dave has a bad fill and a bad box or something, because otherwise the lead's going to be pushed back up to close to 30.
Well, it is 18 right now, plus whatever Dave throws on this ball, the fill ball. 6, diamond leave.
Always a tough spare with the sleeper in the back, this time being in the 8. So open in the 7th. The lead is 24 now.
through the completed frame, the 6th. 10 box in the 7th for Dave.
John Plante has the opportunity to go last. John's about 3 marks away from Dave, and Dave will be open these 2 frames, so it'll be now or never for John. Ooh, a 6th frame too.
Oh.
That helps the John Plante side anyways. Gives him an opportunity to gain without the benefit of the mark, but if he puts 2 marks here, we're back to pretty close to being even. Needs a break on the 10. Doesn't happen.
Well, you would have liked that wood turned the other way, but try and make something happen here on the 4, 7, and 10. Well, it's getting better with that wood moving across. Maybe.
Too far. I don't know. I try to 2 pieces of wood where they meet, see if I can split them. Oh, the ball comes back.
How about that shot? Well, he hit it where you suggested, Dan, but it was the ball that came down and got the 10 pin. Just barely, too.
And needs a big fill and another mark. That looks pretty good.
Wow. Hey, don't go anywhere yet. This one's not over yet.
Looks like that wood is going to roll out. He's going to have a clear shot at it, I believe, when everything settles down.
The problem is he has to wait.
Now I'm not so sure. Yeah, it's a clear shot of the 9 pin. Big mark, opposite of 6 box. Oh!
Oh, no. When he let it go, it looked like he had it. It just faded a little bit off to the right. But again, big pin here opposite the 6. He converts it for the 10. So the lead is 11 with 2 boxes to go. Jeez, these guys give us close matches, don't they?
They certainly do.
Second one this year.
Unfortunately, missing that, still he's 2 marks away from Dave.
And Dave will have a split to shoot at, the 3, 6, and 7. Dave Richards has 10 marks. John Plante has 9. And that's the difference in the match right now. That extra mark.
Keep that lead in double figures by pinning well and make John throw a couple marks. It's 9.
All right, this is an important box here, even if Dave doesn't mark.
Oh, boy.
If he gets 9 or better, I should say 10 or better, he will force John to get 2 marks.
This is going to be one heck of a shot. Oh, that was a big pin falling down, that 10 pin.
Well, a 10 would be very important here for Dave. That's why he's rooting that wood over there, because he knows that if he gets a 10, it'll make it that much tougher.
What do? Do you try the wood? I don't think it's enough to carry both of them. He's going to go for 1 and misses both.
Well, 107 and a 347 for Dave Richards. So John Plante needs a 125 to win, so 29 pins will do it. He can do that with 1 big mark.
Well, there's a chance. A 3 and the 5. Piece of wood behind, piece of wood to the right. Concentrate on getting that 3 pin.
There it is, spare in the 9th.
No hesitation at all. A lot of confidence with that ball on a crucial mark.
Now, anything less than an 8 on this fill, and he'll need another mark.
Well, it's going to be less, but oh no, you got a good break.
This could be it right here if he converts this. He gets it. How about that? So this ball, the match is tied right now. As long as John keeps this one on the lane, he is going to win this match with back-to-back marks in the 9th and 10th. What a shot that was on the 1-8. And there you are with the flourish at the end, the 9 drop for a 133 and a 3-game total of 356 for John Plante. He comes from behind in the last 2 boxes to win it. Remember, he trailed by 42 after the first game. Great comeback win for John Plante. He moves into the championship match next week. We'll talk about that and chat with the bowlers and have our bonus ball contest in a minute. And welcome back to Park Place Lanes, the semifinal match over, and what a match it was. The score is a little bit lower than we've seen the last couple of weeks, but this time after building up the big lead, Dave Richards not able to hold on.
Well, it kind of lost him. He was still hitting the head pin and thought he was hitting his shots, but he wasn't carrying that extra pin. And I give a lot of credit to John, and just never said die and just kept plugging away and finally caught him in the end.
Boy, really, even after John also missing what looked at the time to be a key shot in the 8th box that might have drawn him a little bit closer, then bounced back and hit those 2 shots in the 9th and 10th.
You got to give him a lot of credit. He didn't get rattled at all and came right back with another mark and the 8-pin drop and then the final spare to win.
All right, let's meet our 2 bowlers. First of all, a round of applause for Dave Richards, our runner-up this week, but he won 2 matches in a row, and for Dave we have the 3rd place prize check of $250, and also, Dave, an extra $150 in bonus money during the 3 weeks that you were here, and boy, it looked like the same formula at the beginning, and then all of a sudden the shots weren't going for you.
Exactly, that was it. You know, I wasn't throwing that bad of a ball. It just wasn't carrying that extra pin like it was the past couple weeks in the first string of this match. But got to give credit to John. He came back, like you were saying to Dan, that he missed that spare in the 8th, and he came back and got 37 pins to surpass me.
Well, I know the last 2 weeks must have been fun for you also, because you got to bowl against 2 guys that you know very well. So
yeah.
that adds a little to the competition.
Exactly. I was looking forward to bowl against Paul, because Paul and I have a rematch that we got to get sooner or later. But I'll be back.
Well, perhaps next time. You had a great run, one of the series that you were here last season, and another one this time. So hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Very good. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Dave, very much. Dave Richards, congratulations to him. And now John Plante will roll our bonus ball. And we have $40 up for grabs here, plus a couple of sets of brand new bowling balls from Paramount Industries, if we should get a match. And let's see. We've got a 6 for John. John, come on over, and we'll chat here in a second as soon as Dan Murphy determines if we have a match. We do not. For Grace Marion from Tewksbury, Massachusetts, Grace had her guess of 8, so thanks for playing the game with us, Grace. We'll be sending you a consolation gift, and that means we'll be up to $50 next week. Move right on in here, John. Congratulations. This is got to be feeling pretty good. Your first win here, and you're even with Dave Richards too. You made up for the last time, huh?
Yeah, it was tough. It got off to a slow start, but just hung in there. Made a couple adjustments, came back. He got a lot of bad breaks, a lot of splits.
It seemed like the shots that were going for him the last 2 weeks just didn't go today. Now, I want to ask you a little bit about that shot in the 8th. Now, obviously, you knew that you had a chance to draw closer in the 8th with a make, and then he left the door open, and you knew that you had to come up with at least one big mark. Tell us about that last shot, the 1-9. That was a terrific shot.
The 1-9, I don't remember. All I remember was missing the single pin in the 8th. I thought I just blew my chance there.
Well, I think at the time you certainly got to figure that with Dave bowling the way he'd been bowling, that he'd put up at least one mark, and fortunately for you, he didn't.
No, it was good, because like I said, I get the slow start against somebody like Dave. Just fortunate enough that he goes cold on you.
Well, I know that if you've been paying attention at all over the last 5 or 6 years, you know about Paul Berger. It's been hard to miss him here on Stars and Strikes. He's been in the Tournament of Champions every year, and next week he's going to try and do it again. And you're in the championship match with a chance to knock him off. So that's going to give you a good feeling.
Yeah, no room for error with him. Make one mistake and all done, because he can pile up on marks in a hurry on you.
Well, congratulations, John. We're looking forward to the championship match next week. We'll see you then. All right. John Plante, congratulations for the win. And here's how it sets up for our next week's championship match here on Stars and Strikes. We'll have our top 2 seeds. It'll be John Plante, the number 2 seed, against Paul Berger, our number 1. Just the way they finished in the roll-off, and they will settle it here. The winner will get $1,000 cash. The runner-up will get $500, and the winner, of course, will join Jack Quinn in the Tournament of Champions.
Yeah, all that bonus money also. So there's a lot on the line next week.
And also next week, we'll have our bonus ball contest once again. It'll be worth $50 at the end of next week's show. And we invite you to send in your postcards. Remember, though, regular-size postcards only, please. You'd hate to have the embarrassment of having your postcard ripped up on the air here on The Winds. So make sure you send in regular-sized postcards only, please. Include your name, your full address, including zip code, and the number of pins from 1 to 10 that you think will drop on the bonus ball at the end of the show. Send those cards into Park Place Lanes, Route 28, Windham, New Hampshire, 03087. Good luck. We've got a full barrel of cards, but there's always room for more. We'll have $50 on the line next week, and the big money available for the bowlers as well. So until next weekend, skins, remember, Saturday at noon from the Londonderry Bowling Center, and then back here for Championship Sunday at noon on Stars and Strikes. Until then, for Dan Murphy and the whole Winds of New England crew, I'm Doug Brown. Have a good week, everybody.